The biggest circus act in football is headed to the biggest circus in football, Jerry's World. Next time we see George Pickens try to hurdle a guy but decide to like rip his face mask off in one fell swoop at the same time, it's going to be in front of 100,000 people and a bunch of Ford trucks and a giant I mean, it's just, this is where George Pickens is supposed to be playing football.
No doubt.
And I'm not even a Cowboys fan. Like, this is good for football. I woke up this morning, 7:30. The news had been out for an hour. My group chat was firing at like 6:30 in the morning. They're trading people before we can get the kids off to school, which actually makes for an easy open, right? I can come in, get my work done. Whatever happens the rest of the day isn't going to be as big a deal as the Dallas Cowboys making a blockbuster trade. The offseason that we said, hey, like, the Cowboys aren't doing dick. Like, they're not worried. Like, Jerry Jones is just, I don't know what you call the strategy that they were employing. They weren't doing anything, right? On the heels of a season where, you know, famously you say, hey, no thanks to Derrick Henry, that sort of thing. I think they're putting together a pretty good offseason here. I'll get to that in a minute. Here's what it looks like from the Steelers side of things. I think, number one, it signals that their aspirations aren't real lofty this year. Like, okay, and I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? Like, I don't know if it was, hey, George Pickens, if we were staring an open window in the face and a talented roster in a season where we think we can win the AFC North, like, hypothetically speaking, let's say the Steelers were ready to compete this year. Would they make this trade? I don't know. I don't know if they would. Only they know how bad it is internally. I don't think they would make that trade. So I think while discussing what George Pickens is probably doing disruptively in that locker room is relevant, I think the most relevant thing to me is that the Steelers don't think they're going to be very good. And I would agree. I hate to say that. And I'm sure like these Pittsburgh Steelers aggregators, as they love to do, are going to scoop these quotes up and turn them into a real negative thing. But like, you said it, not me. Like, the Steelers, your favorite team said it, not me. Your favorite team said it. We are not going to be that good this year. If they are very good this year, I will be shocked. Like, if this is a playoff team, make Mike Tomlin coach of the year. All right, like just looking at the roster right now and post-draft, post first, second, third wave of free agency, like, if you haven't done it, when are you going to do it? No quarterback. And if I were a quarterback, I don't know if this is where I want to be. If I was Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if this is where I want to be. Okay? Traded away, arguably, your number one receiver. Some people might think, hey, DK Metcalf was that guy as soon as he walked in the building. But I think the guy with the highest ceiling as a receiver, as a player in the National Football League on that offense is George Pickens. Got the highest ceiling on that offense. You trade him away. Najee Harris is in LA. It's a lot of change for an offense that wasn't real explosive anyways. And I don't think their group up front is a bunch of world beaters, although they have incrementally improved that group. Right? But if I were a quarterback and I were sitting around and I was like, hey, do I want this job or do I want some other job, or maybe I should just like chill out for a year? Like, I might chill out for a year. Like, I think this would be, I mean, to call it a lateral move for Aaron Rodgers would be optimistic. I'm not really sure where they're going this year. Okay, so it to me, it's an indictment on where the Pittsburgh Steelers see themselves as being in the big picture. And I would agree with them. Listen, as a player, I don't want to use the word tanking, right? Because they're not quite tanking. Like, and honestly, tanking can be a very subtle thing, right? It's not usually like very overt. It's a subtle thing. A move like this signals to me that, hey, we are tired of being in QB purgatory. Like, the lack of aggressiveness at quarterback this year. We are tired of being in QB purgatory. Since Ben Roethlisberger hung it up At some point, the Rooney family walks downstairs and says, Mike, this ain't cutting it in a conference where you have to have one of them guys. We don't have one of them guys, and we keep throwing Kenny Pickett, Russell Wilson, and whoever else at the wall hoping it sticks and ending up picking in the middle of the first round every year. The thing that we take a lot of pride in, never dipping below that ugly 500 line. Like we don't go sub 500 here in Pittsburgh. We find a way to go 9-8. We find a way to go 10-7. We find a way in the olden days to go 8-8. That shit ain't cutting it. It is the wise thing to sit this one out. And I say that as a former player, and it sucks to say that because the people who suffer are the players. Like, the players are going to suffer. 53 guys are going to suffer through sitting on a team that doesn't have real aspirations this year. Like, and they'll say all the right things. Like, no one's ever going to say that outright. But you know what time it is when you suit up for this team, I feel like. And that sucks. But if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you have some patience. What you're doing is you're kind of entering the sweepstakes next year. This is something you haven't been in a while. So that's the point. And so I think this says that Tomlin has some time, right? Like, I don't think Tomlin's okay with this if he's year to year. And I think this says that the Rooneys are like, hey, man, we ain't doing this anymore. Like, take a year. We're not going to be mad at you, right? And I think it also says that, and it might just say, I might be out over my skis, and the result might look like tanking, but the motivation might purely be, hey, this guy's the biggest fucking headache we've ever dealt with. Now, famously, Pittsburgh dealt with AB for a while, right, and kept that whole thing. Either they kept it under wraps or he wasn't who he became late in his career. Whatever it was, like, Pittsburgh has developed this reputation for taking chances on guys that might be high maintenance and making it work. Like, Tomlin seems to be able to get the best out of them. But either that stopped happening or they've had enough, right? Like, or the talent and the production, while the talent has been fantastic and the production has been very good, although I think due to his talent, he could produce even more. The effort, that sort of thing, it just leaves too much to be desired. And we're not going to put up with AB type antics with George Pickens type production. Like, right? Like, he's a 1,000-yard receiver. I think he's got his ceiling is the Hall of Fame. Physically, what's in his body. But the lack of effort, to me, the turning it on and turning it off thing, that sucks. And you're not fielding a roster that has like a bunch of vets. Like, in today's NFL, vets are harder to come by anyways. But this Pittsburgh offense, like, who are the vets? Like Isaac Seumalo, who doesn't say two words. He's a great vet, fantastic player, tough dude, lead by example. But who are the guys that are going to keep George Pickens straight? Is it going to be DK Metcalf? So I think, like, all told, Pittsburgh is looking at this thing and saying, like, number one, I don't think we're that good. Number two, this guy's not good enough to act the way he acts. Number three, we don't have the vets in this locker room to get this guy straight. Let's get something for him right now. But I think it signals that they're ready to move on in general. Not just move on from George Pickens. Let's get out of this era of Steelers football. Short-term pain for long-term gain. I've been hearing that a lot lately. Let's apply it to the Steelers. Yeah, dude, like Deontay Johnson was a 1,000-yard receiver. They said, hey, fuck this shit. We're not dealing with you. And they were right, because he hasn't been able to stick. So if I'm the Cowboys, the scariest thing about this deal is the fact that Steelers are usually right. They were right about AB. They were right about Deontay Johnson. I mean, yeah, AB was a big part of Tampa's Super Bowl run. Like, AB still had some real good football in his body, but AB also, like, not soon after walked off the field in New York. AB also burned up his feet in Vegas and, like, told them to fuck themselves. Like, that experiment was combustible. It blew up, right? So, like, for the most part, I think the Steelers are right about when to get out on a guy. I think that's the scariest thing for the Cowboys. But if I'm the Cowboys, maybe you think a fresh start will do this guy some good, right? Like, they have real threats outside. CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens are scary. If they're locked in, right, CD is locked in. But if George Pickens is locked in, playing his best ball, giving great effort, I mean, you talk about a forgiving group of targets for a quarterback, and Dak's a very good quarterback. Like, this is a forgiving group of guys to throw to, right? The catch radius is huge. The toughness at the catch point is huge. The hands. And I think one thing Dak Prescott does a really good job of is throw the back shoulder. I can see that 100 times, right? George Pickens catching a back shoulder ball. And I think the biggest question I have is, are they going to be able to protect well enough to do what I think they want to do, which is throw the ball 40, 50 times a game, right? Because don't forget, you've got Tolbert, who kind of came on, and the guy, I really like this guy as a wide receiver, and Turpin. Like, Turpin, you thought coming in, just purely a gadget guy. I think he proved that he can do a little bit more than that. And I think now that he doesn't have to always be a feature guy, right? Like, you can get the best out of him. You know, you can really use him in ways that you feel like would be best using a guy like Kevontae Turpin. So don't forget Jake Ferguson, right? Like, they have a lot of weapons outside, and Dak is competent, you know. And this is the last hurrah, man. Like, there ain't no more contracts after this, I don't think. And I think for Jerry, he's looking at this like the last hurrah. He's not getting any younger, so you make an aggressive move like this. It's funny what one trade can do. All of a sudden, Cowboys fans probably feel like, hey, we're trying to win, right? But they also signed Dante Fowler this offseason. So, like, they've done a couple things quietly in free agency that I like. You know, I mean, they've been active. They traded for Joe Milton, traded for Kyer Elam for the Bills, which that's a nothing thing. I'm running on a list here. Traded for Kenneth Murray, signed Dante Fowler, signed Solly Thomas, who's a really good vet, kind of tweener defensive lineman, can move around, good leader. Javonte Williams, who's had injuries in Denver, but, you know, we really liked him coming out. Robert Jones, Peyton Turner, who spit in the guy's face last year. Miles Sanders, who once was a running back for the Eagles. Paris Campbell, okay? Re-signed Osa Odigizua. Sadiq Charles. I'm just naming guys now. If you're a Cowboys fan, are you getting excited yet? I really do think it's been, like, they've had a better – if you look at their draft, you know, you go get Tyler Booker. If he pans out, that's really going to help. Listen, the story's not over on Guyton, right? Like, Guyton was a rookie offensive tackle in the NFL. I liked him coming out. Maybe he can develop. I think that's the biggest question when it comes to this offense is, like, can they protect? And I think a lot hinges on Tyler Booker. But they've been very good at drafting offensive linemen, right? So they've been as good at drafting offensive linemen at Pittsburgh has been at collecting crazy-ass wide receivers. Like, the calling cards of these two franchises. So I don't know. I'm not trying to blow smoke up Cowboys fans' asses, but the way that defense played at the end of the season in some spots, you know, I'm always stuck on that Tampa game. If they can play with that effort and that intensity, right now, I know you lost one of your big leaders and best players in Tank Lawrence. Jordan Lewis is now in Jacksonville, and by the way, he had a great tweet. He said that this confirms that God wanted me in Jacksonville because him and George Pickens fucking hate each other. Wasn't it Jordan Lewis who picked the ball off in that barn burner of a Sunday night game that was delayed like 3 hours? Cowboys, Steelers. He picked the ball off and Pickens just ran up to him and ripped him down by his helmet. Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? So Jordan Lewis is happy. He's like, I'm happy I'm not in Dallas because we'd fight every day. Listen, the best part maybe for the Cowboys is they're going to get a player who wants to get paid. This is his contract year. Okay, he's making 3.5 for 1 year. But if you pay him, I think you'll be happy to do that because that'll mean that this guy was fantastic this year. And I think when you are trying to get the best out of a player, you got to know what levers you're pulling. The contract year lever is almost undefeated. You are going to get the best version of that player. Whether the player thinks that they're turning it up a notch during the contract season or not, it's inherently just a thing that happens, man. Like when a player is facing a situation where the next 20 weeks of football defines their financial future for life, like the kind of contracts that are being signed now for life. If George Pickens goes for 1,500 yards, his grandkids will be covered, man. Like it's life-changing money, right? So I think you're going to get a motivated, best behavior version of George Pickens, and if you can't, then he truly isn't worth it. And that would be a huge shame because there's nobody in the media, and I'm not being hyperbolic, maybe Ryan Clark, because I think he said something when he compared him to like Justin Jefferson, and people were like, nah, bro. And I was quietly like, I kind of know what he means. Because I'm a huge George Pickens fan. The guy physically has a lot of tools. And I'm not just talking about, hey, time at the combine, like vertical jump, like 40-yard dash, like 3-cone drill, whatever. I'm talking about the innate athletic traits, ball skills, understanding of space, coordination. Like he's got it all. But he's not giving it 100%. He has not to this point in his career. And if he does, look out. The guy could set the fucking league on fire. I just can't relate to that, right? Like I can't imagine having that kind of fucking talent and just saying, I'll turn it on and turn it off. The Cowboys are banking on him turning it on and keeping it on. All right? So Steelers ripping the Band-Aid off. I get it. I'm all about it. It sucks if this guy turns around and has a great career, right? Like, but Steelers have a track record of knowing what to do and when to do it. And for the Cowboys, you have to make a move like this. You do. It's low risk, high reward. Here's the risk. He shows up and he's kind of a cancer. And if he is, it's going to be on the leadership on that team. You got a veteran quarterback. You know, you have a veteran quarterback. Maybe Micah Parsons will set him straight. I want to see George Pickens on the Micah Parsons podcast. That's what I want to see.
George and Micah both have the same agent, the agent that Jerry Jones said he didn't know who he was a couple press conferences ago.
He knows him now. It's not all sunshine and glory hole. Sometimes you forget the name of the agents. So, anyways, did we miss anything in this situation, Nolan?
No, I don't think so. I agree. I think for the Cowboys, it makes a ton of sense. You mentioned the tackle play. It couldn't end up being great, but going into the year with Guyton and Terrence Steele, it's questionable. And the same goes for the running game. They're uncertain commodities entering the year. So for them, there's a world where quick game is their running game. You know, with Pickens outside, opposite CD, and Dak, maybe he's throwing the ball 50 times, like you said, if they can't run the rock. So for them, wanting to win now, with Jerry, his timeline being what it is, it does make a ton of sense from a football standpoint.
Yeah, and I'm rooting for Schottenheimer, man. I'm rooting for Schotty. Schotty was in St. Louis with me, and, nobody's career went well in St. Louis for the most part. So I'm certainly looking forward to seeing him get a shot at head coach. I mean, he's been a coordinator in this league and longtime coach, and he's a good dude. So I am rooting for Shoddy as much as a former Eagles sort of kind of Eagles fan could be. Are they going to be like the new Seattle Seahawks, like this year's Seattle Seahawks, like offensively? It's either going to be fireworks or it's going to be like, what the fuck is their identity, and they can't protect this guy. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know what the in-between is, and so certainly they're thinking about the upside of this trade. And the upside is getting a very hungry, very talented young receiver to get his shit together. And man, if he does, he's going to set the league on fire. But there's a reason Pittsburgh shipped him out of town. So, anyways, Steelers fans, it might be a different kind of year. But a little short-term pain for long-term gain.